Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back, everyone, to another live broadcast of this, The Kev Baker Show, with me, your host. Yep, I think you've probably guessed it by now, Kev Baker, and I'm coming to you from the quite obviously smart city of Glasgow, right here in the heart of Scotland, and I am going around the world thanks to broadcasting on the Truth Frequency Radio Network, www.tfrlive.com. And we're going out on iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, TuneIn radio apps, wherever you are, whenever you are, whoever you are, whatever you are. You know how nice and inclusive I am here, right? Everybody, everything, every time is welcome right here on KBS. Yes, indeed. And of course, remember, today it's a very special day. Yes, it's the anniversary of the last time, the very last honest man to enter Parliament. Yes, indeed. Because as I was brainwashed during my childhood to remember, thanks to indoctrination and programming from the TV, remember, the 5th of November. Yes, so we're going to be getting into a bit of the history of what has led to Glasgow sounding like a war zone today. You'll probably hear the odd airburst going off in the background. Don't worry about me, folks. It's just I live in an absolutely backcrap crazy area of Glasgow where they will be setting off fireworks late into the night. And my poor cat, you know, I know all animal kind of owners will appreciate this time of year in particular. Over in America, I dare say around July the 4th, it would be a pesky time of year to be an animal as well. But watching the cat today, you know, as the volume outside has got increasingly louder, thanks to the fireworks displays and things like that, the poor cat, to start with, myself and Anne, we were kind of looking at her going, wow, look at her, she's taking it pretty cool, taking it kind of easy, just all in her stride. I think Susie's near enough 18, 19 years old now. So she's used to it, right? Not that cats can get used to bonfire night. But then just last hour or so, not good. And I think people sometimes don't appreciate what the animals go through. Yeah, sure, we know what fireworks night's all about. What does an animal think is going on? They've got absolutely no ability to rationalize what's going on. They're just bombarded with this stimuli and how it must sound to animals, be it dogs, be it cats, be it any other kind of domesticated or wild animal out there. It must be absolutely horrendous. And I know it's hard enough at the best of times to get humans to care about other humans. But usually when it's animals, we seem to go that extra yard for some reason. Not that I'm complaining, but how do you fix this problem? And I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and champion the banning of anything. Who the hell would I be to deny people the experience of maybe going out as a family to one of the fireworks displays, the bonfires? I was up on the Gallagate earlier on, up at the Morrison store, and the place is chock-a-block. People going to the main fireworks display down in Glasgow Green, and the sound of laughter, families all together, you know, going out together to experience this. I certainly wouldn't call for the banning of fireworks and the banning of these public displays or anything like that at all, but how do you kind of fix it? No easy answer, I'm afraid. All I say is to anyone out there, you might not have a pet, but try and keep them in mind when you're setting these things off. And I don't know, when I was younger, fireworks they were pretty cool, you know. You had your Catherine wheel, your Roman candle, all the usual, the rockets. But now, I don't know what the heck they're making them with now. It sounds like Downtown Fallujah or something out there. Seriously, honestly, I don't know. All it's missing is people with RPGs firing some of these things. And I like my fireworks, don't get me wrong, but I had a good kind of scary jump on the way to the shop at least 2 or 3 times when these things were going off. I don't know. So we're going to be getting into a lot more of the history of all this, why this is happening today, etc. And so much more as we go on through the show. And we are simulcasting at the home of KBS on tfrlive.com and over at YouTube as well. So wherever you are, remember to share the link to the show and the network and make sure everybody knows about tfrlive.com. Joe Joseph, he may or may not, probably won't be joining me in hour number 2 today. He's stuck in traffic as usual, is our Joe. There's always something going on with Joe. So if he does get here, though, we'll go and bring Joe in for hour number 2. And we will open up the phones in the second hour of the show as well. Yeah, yous have got me kind of addicted. Not addicted, but a big fan of opening up the phones. And last night, Jason, who is a paranormal investigator, he's got his own channel here on YouTube, which is First World Problems. He came on for the second hour of the show. My, oh my, I talk about the listeners stealing the show. I don't know how much longer I can really keep doing this and expect to have people tuning in to hear me, because you people out there keep stealing the thunder. You keep stealing my limelight. What's that all about? And Joe Joseph, he likes to make a laugh and a joke about me having this big, huge ego. Because there's nothing further from the truth, I think. I hope. I don't come across that way, do I? But I tell you what, been upstaged on my own show. I'm going to have to up my game, thanks to all of you out there. So let me go over to the TFR chat room just quickly. I want to give everyone a big shout out that's in there. I see the one that I always have to remember. Smelly Pits, OMG, big shout out to you. Yes, indeed. I'm in there. I'm in the 2 chat rooms. That's the best way to do this, folks. Be on YouTube and be at tfrlive.com. It's almost like being quantum, right? You're entangled. You're in 2 places at once. You're in those 2 states at once. I love it. So we've got Lynn all the way from the Netherlands. Spread Love 911. Oh, I like that name. The Wookie. Paladin. Good to see you, sir. Silimo. Lavender. Something smells good. Oh, that was too cheesy, right? Bam. Dorito. Oh, it's Smelly Pits I was getting a whiff of. That's what it was. I'm only joking, Smelly Pits. Grateful Specimen. Timid Habitant. Shh. The timid one is here. Calm Human. How can you be calm in this world of craziness? Please give me something. Give me a pint of what you're on if you're remaining calm at this point. We've got the mystical guest, indeedy. Per Pie Pill. Yeah, I got it right today. And all ones. A big shout out to everyone over there at tfrlive.com/chat. And of course, I'll be speaking to the people at YouTube during the breaks as the show progresses. And before we launch into it, one more kind of housekeeping, get this out the way before we move on. Tomorrow on the show, in hour number 2, oh, set your alarms for this one, folks, because Bill Bean is going to be coming back on. And this time, Bill Bean is going to be coming on with somebody that he's recently had to go and assist with some of the supernatural kind of activity that's been centered around and going on with one of the families that listen to our show here. So this really is going to be a really important show tomorrow night. I urge you all to be here. Same time, same place. Bill Bean, hour number 2. So please, please, please tune into that one. Then on Thursday, we're going to have Ryan Gable and Scotty Lopez, and we'll be exclusively on tfrlive.com for that one. So yes, another week of big shows, as always, right here. And I don't know how we keep on doing it. 1,202 shows now. I remember saying to Anne, once we get the first 1,000 out the way, nobody can go past 1,000. What is there left to talk about? 1,000's more than enough for any show. Yeah, here we are. 1,202 shows in. I'm not even going to say 2,000's enough, right? Because you would think after 1,000 shows, you're starting to get to know what's going on. But in reality, every show in itself raises another 3, 4, or 5 questions, which means you have to do another 3, 4, or 5 additional shows on the back of that. They unto themselves all spawn off 3, 4, 5 different new questions. You see what's happening here? You see what's happening? It's like an invert. It's like a curve, an exponential curve, where you just have to keep going. Because there's always more information to uncover. And I'm very hesitant to say truth that we will uncover. Because what is the truth anymore anyway, when you think about it? One person's truth is another person's absolute disinfo, and vice versa. And never the two shall come to meet in the middle or even agree to disagree. So I think at best all we can do is provide you with the information out there so that you can make up your own mind. And I've said for many a year now that I certainly can't change the world. However, I can change the world around me and hopefully give you the information to change the world around you. We can definitely change the world of other people's around us, as opposed to having big ideas that we can never really achieve when it comes to changing the entire world. So there's my deep thought for the day, folks. Yes, November the 5th has brought out the very philosophical and thoughtful Kevin. Wonder how long this will last, eh? But yeah, we're going to get into the history of Bonfire Night. And like I always like to point out, sometimes triggers people, but I say that this day is the anniversary of when the last honest person entered Parliament, Guy Fawkes. So we're going to get into that. We're going to take a look at how we're now, let me see here. I've got so many links I can go to. Yeah, we're going to take a look at something that's been happening online, a couple of online stories. One of them to do with YouTube as well, a bit of a crazy one. We're also going to take a look at some strange stuff going on at Facebook. I can't even figure it out. Netflix, they're at some madness as well. What else do we have here? Yeah, we've got an absolute abundance of stuff to get into. And as we move more towards the woo, towards the second hour of the show, I don't know about all of you out there, but I tend to look at the analytics, and the analytics tells me, and it could be wrong, but I think we all enjoy, if that's the right word to use, we like to talk about and explore the mysterious disappearances, right? The missing 411 type stuff. And I think humans in general, there's something about mysteries and the unknown and the unexplainable that naturally draw us in anyway. So as we do move towards hour number 2, I have pulled up an absolute, too many of these stories to mention. And we're going to take a look at some of the mysterious disappearances that certainly point towards something very, very, very weird going on in the world. So shall we get into it properly now that I've wasted all that time talking about nothing in reality? You see, I'm getting good at this, right? I'm only joking, folks. Let's get into this because we're going to talk about, remember, the 5th of November. Yes, indeed. So then, Bonfire Night. Let's get into it here. And of course, I'd forgot to go to the top of the story. It comes from the Telegraph. And I thought, well, let's just go over some of the basics. Why is it right now over the UK and elsewhere, we've got all these bonfires, we've got all these celebrations going on. And I wonder how many of the youngsters today truly know what it is that's been celebrated today, especially in these times where history is very, very fluid and can change from one day to the next. And I would imagine somebody like Guy Fawkes, I mean, look at the beard on him. I mean, this is going to be somebody that's regarded as a very toxic male, very, very toxic male indeed. In fact, probably atypical for your middle-aged, white, heterosexual male. Yes, he probably represents us all. Wouldn't be surprised if there's stories like that out there. I wouldn't be. You know, in Woketopia, that's my new name for the world, folks. We are in Woketopia. Forget Bizarro Land. It's been pimped out. It's been 5G'd and smart gridded up. Bizarro Land, once upside down world, is now Woketopia. But getting back into this before I get lost, it's going to be one of these shows. When I'm in a mood like this, it's usually a really, really good show. You might have to remind me where I'm going, because sometimes I forget. Bonfire Night, that's where we were. Remember, the 5th of November. And I never appreciated when I was in school that mantra, that phrase would be ingrained into my mind for this very day today, so that I would remember, I'm telling you, about the history of November the 5th. And we go to, like I say, the Telegraph, the story of Guy Fawkes, gunpowder, treason, and plot. Dun, dun, dun. They wouldn't dare use the word conspiracy there, right? Because, I mean, conspiracies don't exist, do they? Wah, wah, wah. It's that time of year again when we Britons gather in parks and gardens to watch dummies burn on bonfires and fireworks light up the sky. Wrapped up in woolly hats and gloves, many a time did I get caught out going down to Glasgow Green with Anne and Kevin And I thought it was maybe a bit warmer than it looked. And you'd be stood there for hours. You wouldn't be able to feel your toes. Your fingers would be falling off. It would be an absolute nightmare. Oh, thank goodness. In a way, I'm grateful now he's like 17, going on 18 next year. But at the same time, he's grown up too fast. What's the hell about? I'd give anything to be back freezing at Glasgow Green. No, not just yet. So then, we go back to this. It says, the jovial atmosphere is a far cry from the origins of November the 5th, which are shrouded in religious tension and a foiled assassination attempt. Now, November the 5th is a date when Britons commemorate events that nearly changed the course of a nation's history. But what actually happened that night, and what part did Guy Fawkes play? So, November the 5th commemorates the failure of the November 1605 gunpowder plot by a gang of Roman Catholic activists led by Warwickshire-born Robert Catesby. Now, when Protestant King James I acceded to the throne, English Catholics had hoped that persecution they had felt for over 45 years under Queen Elizabeth I would finally end, and they would be granted the freedom to practice their religion. Different times, folks, eh? Whew, far different times. So when this didn't transpire, just make sure I've got this on here. Yep, everything good to go. Yeah, so when this didn't transpire, a group of conspirators resolved to assassinate the king and his ministers by blowing up the Palace of Westminster during the state opening of Parliament. Guy, or Guido Fawkes from York, and his fellow conspirators, wow, they used the word. Imagine using the word for something that they say doesn't exist. I know, I'm being over the top, but I'm trying to make a point. A crappy one, but I'm making a point. Having rented a house close to the Houses of Parliament, managed to smuggle 36 barrels of gunpowder into a cellar of the House of Lords, enough to completely destroy the building. Hence why I say he was the last honest person to make it in there. Well, no, I have no political leanings whatsoever. I don't trust any of them. They're all absolutely, not equally corrupt, but equally out for themselves. So it says physicists from the Institute of Physics later calculated that the 2,500 kilogram of gunpowder beneath Parliament would have obliterated an area 500 metres from the centre of the explosion. Now, the scheme began to unravel when an anonymous letter was sent to William Parker, the 4th Baron Monteagle, who knows, warning him to avoid the House of Lords. Oh, isn't that interesting? There was a big event happened at the turn of this century, where there was certain people told to avoid places on a certain day, sunny September morning. Just saying. It's funny how these things always repeat, right? Don't change something when it ain't broken, folks. This is how it works, okay? The letter, which could well have been sent by Lord Monteagle's brother-in-law Francis Tresham, was made public, and this led to a search of the Westminster Palace in the early hours of November the 5th. Now, explosives expert Fawkes, who had been left in the cellars to set off the fuse, was caught when a group of guards discovered him at the last moment. Pesky guards. Oh, pesky guards. If only, eh? Oh, Guy. Oh, if I had a time machine, dude, I'd come back and I'd make sure they didn't find you. I'm just saying. So Fawkes was arrested, sent to the Tower of London, and tortured until he gave up the names of his fellow plotters. Oh, come now. Don't they know that torture is very notorious for getting bad information out of people? You know, when you're getting tortured, you'll pretty much tell anybody anything that they want to know. I'm just saying, we've kind of got some recent history for that kind of thing, right? We do know what we're talking about there, yeah? So Lord Monteagle was rewarded with £500 plus £200 worth of lands for his service in protecting the crown. So it goes on to say that Guy Fawkes, Thomas Bates, Robert and Thomas Wintour, Thomas Percy, Christopher and John Wright, Francis Tresham, Everard Digby. I wonder if he's any relation or friend of our Christopher Everard on tfrlive.com. How cool would that be? Ambrose Rockwood, Robert Keyes, Hugh Owen, John Grant, and the man who organised the plot, Robert Catesby. So these were the co-conspirators, yes. And the conspirators were all either killed resisting capture or, like Guy Fawkes, tried, convicted, and executed. Now, the traditional death for traitors in the 17th century England was to be hanged, drawn, and quartered in public. But this proved not to be the 35-year-old Fawkes' fate. And I think probably most people, if you've seen Braveheart, what they do to William Wallace at the end of the film, and as a Scotsman, I might burst into tears right now. I know, Mel Gibson, he's Australian, he's not William Wallace, I know that. But still, yeah, if you think of that, that's what hung, drawn, and quartered is. So as he awaited his punishment on the gallows, Fawkes leapt off the platform to avoid having his testicles cut off, his stomach opened, and his guts spilled out before his eyes. Mercifully for him, he died from a broken neck, but his body was subsequently quartered, and his remains were sent to the four corners of the United Kingdom as a warning to others. Just exactly the same as Wallace, and never let anything go to waste, right? It doesn't matter the fact that old Guy Fawkes kind of cheated the form of execution they had planned for him. No, we'll just do it anyway. We'll just have this kind of public spectacle. We'll cut him up and... Different times, folks. Different times. I tell you, you wouldn't have got YouTubers fighting on pay-per-view back then. I'm telling you. No, that just wouldn't have rode at all. So it says here, following the failed plot, Parliament declared November the 5th a national day of Thanksgiving, and the first celebration of it took place in 1606. King James I also sought to control non-conforming English Catholics in England. In May 1606, Parliament passed the Popish Recusants Act, which required any citizen to take an oath of allegiance denying the Pope's authority over the king. Observance of the 5th of November Act, passed within months of the plot, made church attendance compulsory on that day, and by late 17th century, the day had gained a reputation for riotousness and disorder and anti-Catholicism. William of Orange's birthday, November the 4th, was also conveniently close. And remember. So the actions of Guy Fawkes are immortalised in the nursery rhyme, remember. Although several different versions exist, the first 5 lines remain the same in all. So it says, remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. We see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Guy Fawkes, 'twas his intent to blow up king and parliament. 70 barrels were laid below to prove old England's overthrow. By God's mercy he was catched with a darkened lantern and burning match. So holler boys, let the bells ring. Holler boys, God save the king. And what shall we do with him? Burn him. Yes, indeedy. Another version, which is said to have been penned around 1870. And I think we might have something jumping onto our screen here soon. Let's see. Maybe not. I'll go back to reading this then. This is another version, which is said to have been penned around 1870, displays, or perhaps parodies, anti-Catholic sentiment, which is said to have risen following the passing... Oh, there it goes.
Who is this guy? Sounds like a Scot.
Said by a truly English-sounding AI. Now, wasn't that confusing? And we're going to be back after these short messages, folks. Yes, indeed, it is remember, the 5th of November. And Guy Fawkes, somebody I look up to. Very toxic. Yes, there we go, folks. I'm back. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Yes, indeed. And Lance, thank you very, very much, sir. I really do appreciate that. And yes, I am a Scot. I'm not an angry Scot. I'm a what, Anne? What did you say? I am an angry Scot. No, not today. I'm chilling out. Yes, indeed. And we'll be opening the phones in the second part of the show, folks. So we've got one more segment to go. We'll be opening the phones up. And yes, Edward, exactly. It's good to laugh. Marty, she's having a good laugh as well. See, this is what I like. This is what I like about the chat room. Everyone, there's like its own vibe in there. It goes along with what's going on in the show. I feed off it. Hopefully you feed off me. We got it all going on here, man. Brown chicken, brown cow. Can I say, man? Can't even say ladies and gentlemen anymore. Don't worry, Jason. Don't worry, man. No triggery stuff tonight. I can't take it anymore. There's only so many triggers even Kevboy can take, and I'm at my limit. Oh, what have I done now? Hypothetically, I think I might have lost, like, my herbal companion. Oh, there he is. Yep, there he is. Hypothetically. That'd be illegal in the UK, right? So what's people in the chat room saying? Just a guy must be all the weed. No, it's illegal over here. Patrick says laughter is the best medicine. Absolutely. Edward, open up the hard stuff, Kev, and let's do a shot. You know, Anne's got drink up on the shelf, but she won't let me drink it. Maybe one night we'll play a drinking game on the stream. Something like that.
You buy your own drink.
I have to buy my own drink, though. Endorphins, natural opiates, says Patrick. The MFers who love you dearly, I'm not going to say guillotine. The chat room is smoky. It's looking rather smoky out there tonight. Can't even see you out there, just a guy. Where are you, man? PPP, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We need some music on when we're on these kind of interludes. What we have? That'll do. A little bit of background music while we kick back, you know? I mean, what other shows do you get to chill? Oh, whoa! Susie Lewis.
Just a little something.
Susie, you are the one with the little something, your new grandchild here in this crazy world. Now, we are all entrusting you to make sure there's going to be no snowflakery going on there. We don't want no SJWery going on there either. Making up words tonight as we go. That's 2 already. Yes, indeed. Add that to my own favourite of Imagineering. 3, hat trick, away we go. But Susie, come on. You're already a member, and folks, honestly, I thank you so much when you do support the stream. As you can see, I'm going to be here anyway. And when we went off the stream earlier on today, we got a new member to the channel. I forgot to mention that. Yes, indeed. Let me see now. The name should be here. Hodgod joined the channel, and that takes us up to 107. So the little bar down the bottom. I think we might make it, you know. We're on the 5th of November today. We've got until the 11th. I went for the ones, 11-11. Can we do it? Maybe. So then, let's get back to the mothership. Does it annoy people when I call it that? It's starting to get annoying to me, I must admit. The mothership. I need something cooler to say than that. I don't know. Yes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Kev Baker. You're tuned into today's Kev Baker Show live, right here on TFRlive.com. Truth Frequency Radio, where silence is consent, and where we give you the very best of protection from deception. And there's lots of it going around out there right now, so I thank you all for being here today. Don't forget, coming up right after the Kev Baker Show, you've got Joe Joseph with the Freedom Link. All that and so much more to take you through the night, the morning, the afternoon, the evening, because we're listened to all around the world. You know, always check out tfrlive.com 24/7. There's always something on there. There's something for everyone. So then, let's get back into it tonight. We're talking about Remember, the 5th of November. I was streaming earlier on today, and it sounded like World War III had started out in the back garden. We can't really call it a garden. Back area. A shared facility. Not getting into any more of those, but that's another story altogether, folks. But yeah, and I tell you what, I'm listening to it right now, and I can still hear fireworks going off. It still sounds like people are absolutely lording it. They're having these big firework parties. It's 10:30 at night, folks. My cat, I don't know, she's definitely used up one or two of her lives here tonight. She has been jumping out of her skin. Not good, not good. My heart goes out to all the other animal owners out there. And it's horrible, horrible watching our pets go through all of the pesky stuff that happens every single November the 5th or July the 4th or any other time of year that people decide it's a good idea to start blowing things up. Not that I don't like fireworks. I love fireworks. Find something quite hypnotic about watching the old fireworks. And a big shout out to Pearly Turnbull. Yes, indeed. My biological mother. I only say that because, you know, nowadays you have to be so sterile about the way you say anything. I wouldn't want to, offend anyone along the way about how I describe my own biological birth mother, you know. Old school stuff, right? But let's get back into Remember the 5th of November before I forget where I'm going. Yes, indeed. So I was going through the nursery rhyme before the break. You know the one. Remember, the 5th of November. The gunpowder, treason, and plot. Yes, indeed. And how about before we do launch back into it, right? Let's see if I can find this. Do I still have it here? I bet I don't. I don't either. I had a list of really, really cheesy jokes for Halloween. Do I still have it? Maybe I do. No, I don't. Dang. Yes, I do, right? How about this for a really cheesy joke, right? What do you get when you cross a dinosaur with fireworks? Dynamite. Yeah, I need the soundboard. Come on, I need it. Load soundboard. Yes. Pretty lame, right? Pretty lame, but we've got another one here. How many safety inspectors does it take to light the bonfire? 1 to light the match and 3 to hold the fire extinguisher. Now that's apt. That is apt. Do you know why that's apt? Because health and safety has killed bonfire night in the UK. And I know I sound like a hypocrite. 1 minute I'm wanting to protect all the animals from all the scary noises, and then the next minute I'm going after this army of clipboarded morons. Yes, these health and safety freaks that are lurking around every corner in the UK to extinguish fun at any outbreak of anything that might at all resemble anything that could be deemed fun. That's what health and safety is all about, folks. It's not about protecting you or I. These people are the fun police. Anytime something, you know, a little bit of laughter or a little bit of joviality is just about to break out, you just know one of these yellow fluorescent clipboarded maniacs is going to jump out from somewhere and they're going to tell you, no, you can't be doing that. Oh, no. Shh, you could trip over that little bit of curb there, or oh, you might slip on that bit of grass over there. Go and get a life, will you? Fun police, the lot of them. In fact, I'm surprised the fun police even allow us to have Guy Fawkes night anymore. I truly am. So let's get back into this after the worst jokes in the world, shall we? So we're getting into the history of all of this. We've been learning about Guy Fawkes and his co-conspirators and that honest attempt to do something that might have sorted out what's going on down in Westminster. Westminster. It's a Freudian slip, you know. And I tell you, if you're looking for monsters down there at Parliament, it ain't Guy Fawkes. Like I say, probably, most likely, the last honest man to enter Parliament. That's all I'm going to say. So then, let's get back into it. It says the actions of Guy Fawkes. Oh, we've done that, but Another version, which is said to have been penned around 1870, and this is a nursery rhyme that they're talking about, folks, displays, or perhaps parodies, anti-Catholic sentiment, which is said to have risen following the passing of the 5th of November Act. A rope to hang the Pope. A pen'orth of cheese to choke him, a pint of beer to wash it down, and a jolly good fire to burn him. Damn. Bang, dude. Different times. Times were harsher back then, right? Snowflakes just wouldn't have survived back then. Can you imagine being like one of these soy boys, one of these half men, one of these kind of, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen them. You see the faces they pull. You've seen them out there and no socks on and 3/4 length trousers and looking all hey and trendy. You know the ones. Imagine them living back in these times. Don't know if they would have lasted long, to be honest with you folks. I don't know. So it says here, Guy Fawkes Day today. The House of Parliament are still searched by the yeomen of the guard before the state opening. The idea is to ensure no modern-day Guy Fawkes is hiding in the cellars with a bomb, although it is more ceremonial than serious. And they do it with lanterns. The cellar that Fawkes tried to blow up no longer exists. In 1384, it was destroyed in a fire which devastated the medieval Houses of Parliament. The lantern that Guy Fawkes carried in 1605 is in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. Ash? Something quite synchronistic about that. And isn't there almost something weird about the fact that the cellar itself, where he tried to do it and he failed, it eventually did actually become, or was destroyed by fire. Eventually, anyway. It's almost as if that part of the building was always meant to burn down one way, shape, or form. And it might not have happened with Guy Fawkes, but I don't know, that event, it still had to happen. There's something weird about that. Yeah, so it goes on to say that Guy Fawkes Day is celebrated in the United Kingdom and in a number of countries that were formerly part of the British Empire, with fireworks, bonfires and parades. Straw dummies representing Fawkes are tossed on the bonfire, as well as those contemporary political figures. Well, you know, in the world of Woketopia, where we find most of history, where men have been prominent, we've now got this rewriting of history and things like that, and Hollywood in particular, you know, that they'll swap out a traditionally male character for a female one. I don't see any of the woke brigade feeling left out when it comes to being burnt on top of a bonfire. I don't see any of them crying out for some female or non-binary or any of the other 98 gender classifications of, you know, should it not be like gender fluid? Is there nobody sticking up for Guy Fawkes and the masculine effigy? That's terrible. I thought it was all about equality. Maybe we should burn a dude one year, female effigy the next year, non-binary the year after that. Oh, we've got 100 years worth of things to keep burning on, right? I'm just saying. See, I get confused because, you know, you'd think all of this wokeness, you'd think it affects everything, but it seems very selective, right? It almost seems like it only when it fits the woke's agenda. I don't know. So let's go back on to it. I won't get triggered, folks. I won't. I won't allow that to happen today. So it says then, dummies have been burned on bonfires since as long as the 13th century, initially to drive away evil spirits. Now, following the gunpowder plot, the focus of the sacrifices switched to Guy Fawkes' season. You see, folks, this was always a time of year when you had bonfires, or as they were once called, bone fires. And there is more attached to this than just this event, I believe, down in the old Parliament with old Guy Fawkes. There's a lot more going on here, a lot more going on. But as ever, as is usually the case, what we think we're celebrating nowadays, let's face it, what's gone in the past isn't always there anymore anyway. They're rewriting everything anyway. Who knows? Fireworks Day, November the 5th, might be to celebrate one thing this year, but by next year, it could mean something completely different. In fact, it might be banned altogether if it's deemed offensive in any way. Yes, indeed. Maybe someday will have heard me talking about the fact that Guy Fawkes is a typical representation of us violent white males, yes? Maybe on that grounds, maybe he'll be too toxic. Old Guy will be banned. He'll be too toxic for Woketopia. Yes, indeedy. So let's see here. I've been scrolling down. Traditionally, these effigies called guys. Oh dear. Nah, you see, now this needs to be changed, right? Really needs to be changed. That word's offensive. Can we call them like scholars? We can't say hey guys anymore. So hey scholars. So we're now going to burn scholars, or what are we going to call it? I mean, we can't offend anyone, right? Are carried through the streets in the... I'm surprised one of the woke journalists hasn't seized upon this day to have a real good go at virtue signalling and scoring some points with the woke brigade by riding in there to use this, you know, champion the cause of going one way or the other just to be woke, you know. I'm telling you, maybe it's out there. Maybe I've missed it, and if I have, I apologise. But I tell you what, if somebody has been writing that way, I'll find it. I'll find it by the end of the week, I promise. So then, traditionally, these highly offensive things that are called guys are carried through the streets in the days leading up to Guy Fawkes Day. And children asked passers-by for a penny for the guy. I remember I used to do that, yes. Today, the word guy is a synonym for a man. But originally, it was a term for a repulsive, ugly person in reference to Fawkes. Now, this is only the second time that I've heard this ever. I might be really stupid, and I am. I'm pretty thick. I get that. I'm no brain surgeon. I'm no rocket scientist. But the word guy to me had always just been an R word for a dude. Or you could say, generalise, walk into a room, hey guys, right? At no time ever did it ever mean ugly or, you know, grotesque. And yet, when we watched the video a few weeks ago about, you know, the woke brigade saying that we can't say hey guys anymore, we have to say hey crowd, hey scholars, things like that, ridiculous. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it. When was the word guy ever meant to mean ugly person? Can somebody tell me that? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like I say, I never ever checked the dictionary. I didn't need to have the word guy defined to me. But yeah, that's twice now I've heard it means repulsive, ugly person. Obviously it does. Or is that just some kind of new thing? Is it a Mandela? Is it because it's a masculine term, it automatically then becomes repulsive and ugly? Just because it's masculine, per se. Yes, indeedy. Stretching, not triggered. The fireworks, see, they had to get something in there, right? You see, they had to get it in there. Yeah, I'm going to explode more than a Roman candle. The fireworks represent the explosives that were never used by the plotters. Now, in Ottery St Mary, South Devon, in a tradition dating back from the 17th century, barrels soaked in tar are set alight and carried aloft through parts of the town by residents. Only Ottgrigians, or Ottregians, those born in the town or have lived there most of their lives, may carry a barrel. Not very inclusive. How long will this be allowed to continue, I say? Lewes, in southeastern England, is also the site of an annual celebration. Guy Fawkes Day there has a distinctly local flavour involving 6 bonfire societies whose memberships are grounded in family history stretching back for generations. How cool is that? Hang on, Lewes in southeastern England is also the site of an annual celebration. Guy Fawkes Day there has a distinctly local flavour involving 6 bonfire societies. What the hell? I mean, I get it, bonfires are cool, but a society? 6 of them? Dedicated to bonfires? Something freaky-deaky going on there, folks, I'm telling you. I wouldn't mind going to one of their secret get-togethers. That, let me tell you, folks, that would be not suitable for work. That's for sure. Nor TFR, nor YouTube, nor anything. Hey, Webb Smith is coming in with a super chat in just a moment, folks. Hey.
I'm good at firework displays. I've got a flair for it.
Ba-boom. Absolutely. I like it, Webb. I like it. And thank you very, very much indeed. Yes. Well, like I say, listen, I know, all joking aside, but I like the fireworks. I think they look pretty danged cool, to be honest with you. But yeah, let's get back into this, folks, right? Where were we now? Yeah, like I was saying, that fireworks society, that's pretty weird, right? Or the Bonfire Society. So, the only place in the UK that does not celebrate Guy Fawkes Night is his former school, St. Peter's in York. They refused to burn a guy out of respect for one of their own. Very interesting. So, it says, during the 10th century, and we're getting into the history of it now, a Chinese cook discovered how to make explosive black powder when he accidentally mixed 3 kitchen ingredients: potassium nitrate and saltpetre, a salt substitute used in curing of meat, sulphur, and I'm not going to say the last damn ingredient. I ain't wanting SWAT teams and armed response cars outside the house if I start spouting out bomb-making material. Are you crazy? They've tried to catch me out there, haven't they? Yes, GCHQ were just sitting ready to press the go button. They would have the audio of me talking about what bloody chemicals we need, and they would splice it together with me getting triggered about this, that, and the other thing. And before you know it, boom, bada bing, bada boom, Kev Baker plot in the room. Yes, indeed. I caught you, GCHQ, caught you. So it says the cook noticed that if the concoction was burned when enclosed in the hollow of a bamboo shoot, there was a tremendous explosion. And how the hell did they find out that if you were to cook it in a bamboo shoot? Did they just I take it that was the way you cooked everything? I'm assuming they weren't sitting there thinking, right, what do we cook this in next? A shoe? A traffic cone? An old bamboo shoot? I don't know. So fireworks arrived in Europe in the 14th century and were first produced by the Italians. The first recorded display was in Florence, and the first recorded fireworks in England were at the wedding of King Henry VII in 1486. The word bonfire is derived from bone fire, from a time when corpses of witches, heretics, and other nonconformists, yeah, that would be you or I in the present day, folks, were burned on a pyre instead of being burned or buried in consecrated ground. Fireworks should be enjoyed at a safe distance, and adults should deal with fireworks displays and the lighting of fireworks. They should also take care of the safe disposal of fireworks once they have been used. And this was a broadcast from your local health and safety initiative. No, I'm not joking. But it goes on there. Of course, being in Britain gives you a list of rules. Everything in Britain's about a list of rules or somebody with a clipboard, right? Here are the 10 fireworks rules you must follow. So it goes on to say, anonymous protests. Now, this has become a big thing. The November the 5th anonymous protest. For the first time in I can't remember how many years, I haven't been checking out how it's going on down in London. Usually there's a big one down there. The Million Mask March, they call it. So it says November the 5th has become an important date globally now that political activists all over the world are wearing Guy Fawkes masks to protect their identity. These masks were inspired by Alan Moore's dystopian V for Vendetta, the 1988 graphic novel whose main character is loosely based on Guy Fawkes. In recent years, supporters of anti-capitalist group Anonymous have taken to the streets in cities and towns worldwide in a so-called Million Mask March against political oppression. And the traditional cake eaten on Bonfire Night is parkin cake, A sticky cake containing a mixture of oatmeal, treacle, syrup, and ginger. It sounds absolutely bloody delightful. Proper parking is a dark, sticky cake, right? We don't need to get into the cakes associated with Halloween. Not even Halloween. November the 5th. I always used to mix those two up when I was a kid as well. Too close together. Yes. Oh, do Morrison's have that, Anne, and you didn't get me it? You see, I was looking forward to my parking cake tonight, and now I don't get any parking cake. I didn't even know a parking cake was a thing until I read about it. So, listen. Like I say, Guy Fawkes, last honest guy to make his way down there to Parliament. Now, make of it what you will. I know some people don't like me saying that, and I do wish he had succeeded. No harm to anyone there right now. You know, I love politicians that much. But at least they were going to try and change what was going on down there. Because if you're looking for one place in the UK, one place that all of our problems stem out of, definitely Westminster. Now, that said, despite the fact I gave you 3 of the 4 necessary ingredients to do something about it, I obviously don't tell anyone to do anything against politicians, against anyone out there, because violence begets violence, and some violent uprising, and you hear people talking about revolutions and all that kind of good stuff. You know, all that does in the end of the day is give the government that we are very fearful of the fact they're building out a police state, it gives them more reason to build out that police state. Now, I wish I could tell you how we could make all of our problems disappear overnight. I really do. But I can't. It'd be unrealistic. And I dare say if anyone out there tells you they've got the way to solve all of this, I dare say they're being unrealistic as well. But like I said earlier on, maybe it's not about changing the world. It's just changing the world of people around us. And I'm pretty sure all of us can do that. Now, when we come back on the other side, this is where we shift gears. Yes, indeed. This is where I open up the phones. Oh, it's like phone call roulette. See, Russian roulette? You spin the barrel and you don't know what you're getting. It's like the phone calls. So when we come back after the break, I will be opening up the phone lines. And here is the number you are going to need. I've even done a new little graphic so you can see it on screen. If you are in the USA, all you have to do is phone up 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. And if you're in the UK, it's 0044-203-393-2871. That's 0044-203-393-2871. And before we go to the break, Anne sent me a little story that we can get a little laugh at before we go out here. Let me just bring this up. You know how I like to document the kind of collapse of society, and I ad nauseum tell you that we're slipping into the real life version of that movie Idiocracy. Well, we've had another example of it here, and of course, never let Bonfire night go to waste, right? You take the younger generation of today and their mindset, you mix that with dangerous explosive fireworks, and it was always guaranteed we were going to get a story like this, right? A man filmed firing a rocket from between his behind cheeks. Yes, indeed. It's Bonfire night, and what better way to celebrate than to shove a firework between your bum cheeks? Light it and see what happens. Well, this fella definitely knows how to have a good time, because he did just that, and he posted a video to Twitter to prove it. Now, I don't know. It's going to be funny. I know I'm going to laugh at this. However, probably, listen, I usually do dating advice on the daytime stream. Now's just my health and safety advice.
Sky, you're dude.
You don't want to be doing this.
Oh my god! It's burning up your back, your t-shirt's...
And I hope that wasn't a Scottish accent I heard there. I really hope it wasn't. Yes, it's gone horribly wrong, folks, just as predicted. So yes, thank you for sending me that, Anne. I tell you, there's one of these geniuses born every single minute. And when we come back on the other side, the phone lines will be open. And I'll also be starting to talk about a few other stories that we've got here. We'll move away from Remember, the 5th of November. I promise, no triggery stuff. I wouldn't do that to any of you. Had enough of that today. But we've got some of the disappeared or strange disappearances. And that could be interesting to get into. Join me after the break when it turns from the Kev Baker Show into your show when the phones are opened up. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, okay. Now what I'm going to do. I am going to go and pour a quick cup of coffee. So I'm going to leave you with some of my absolutely awesome music, okay? I'll be right back. I'm back, folks. I'm back. I got my coffee. We're good. We're ready to go. Anne's shouting at me. Everything's fine. We're jamming. We're jamming, folks. Yes, indeed. And we're getting ready to go back live now to the network. But yeah, that was a genius, right? That we seen setting off the rocket. Wow. I don't know, folks. What the hell possesses some people, man? I don't know. How did he think that was going to go? Do you know what I mean? Yes, indeedy. So we all enjoying the first hour of the show. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Damn, that rhymed as well. I need to stop it with this rhyming malarkey. I don't even mean it. Because it would just be too cheesy. If it wasn't so easy. Oh, I've lost the plot. Here we go. We're going back live now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2. Right here on today's Kev Baker Show on your number one network. Truth Frequency Radio, www.tfrlive.com. I am ready. We've got 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. And this is the part of the show where I'm going to open up the phone lines. Yes, indeed. Now then, all you have to do if you want to be a part of today's show, and I would like it to be on the weird, the woo, but you can phone me about anything. Let's just open up the lines. Let's see where it goes. Maybe you've got some personal story. Maybe somebody in your family was part of some event, some experience, some story that you can tell us. Maybe you've got an idea about some of the stuff that we've mentioned previously here on the show before. Whatever it is, all you have to do is phone in. If you're in the US, to call into TFR, what you do is you call 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. And if you're in the UK, it's 0044 203 393 2871. And that's 0044 203 393 2871. So, like I say, preferably we'll stick with the paranormal. We can get into some of that stuff. Or we can go into some of the woo that I've got here that we've got lined up for our number 2. And that is strange disappearances. Yes, indeed. Now, I had a whole heap of other stories, but I like to get into this kind of thing in our number 2, and I think all of you like getting into the woo as well. And with the phone calls along the way, I think we're going to knock it out the park. We'll get yet another home run right here on KBS today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the phone lines right now. Let's see. Okay, hang on then. There we go. Let's pull up the number. There it is there. Oh, here we go. There it is. Okay then, so like I say, if you want to call into the show, all you have to do is phone me on the following number. If you're in the US, dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. And if you're in the UK, it's 0044 203 393 2871. That's 0044 203 393 2871. And if you were tuned in yesterday, you'd have heard our good friend Jason, the paranormal investigator. He was on talking about his investigation into Bodmin Gall. And I was speaking to my mum after the show yesterday, and she too was blown away by the red orb that Jason had captured there. So if you've got any stories like that to phone in with, please get in touch. Maybe it could be about something completely different. Maybe it's Mandela effects. Or maybe, just maybe, it's about some of these people that have gone missing in some of the strangest circumstances. And not only that, but continue to go missing in the strangest of circumstances. But before we go there, we have got a caller on the line. Yes, we are going to area code 508. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. And what's your name?
Vincent.
Vincent, how you doing, sir? It's great to speak to you.
Hey, not too bad. Listen, I enjoy your show. I do have a question for you, though, regarding Catholicism in
You'll probably need to turn your radio down, or you'll need to turn your speakers down,
Oh,
Vincent.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's no problem. That's all right.
Didn't think about that. Hold on.
All good, Vincent. All good.
There we go.
There we go.
Anyway, I was wondering. I know that one of your prime ministers had to, when he left the House of the Parliament, change his religion from English religion to Catholicism. I was wondering why is that such a deal?
You know, I would love to be able to give you the hard, fast answer on that. But Vincent, I honestly do not know. And I think it stems back to some of what we were learning there about Guy Fawkes at a time when the Catholics were very much persecuted by the royalty in this country. I don't know, it must stem back to something from there around that time. But I wish I could be of more help to you. I really do. But I'm sure there's plenty of information online about that. Like I say, I can't answer it because I honestly don't know, Vincent.
Listen, I want to thank you. Like I say, I enjoy your show very much. I watch it here on YouTube. And have a good day or good morning.
Vincent, I'm so sorry I couldn't answer your question, but I want to thank you so much for phoning up. I want to thank you for watching the show. And is there anything else at all that I can help you with? Anything else you want to mention before I let you go?
No, not unless you can somehow come up with some winning lottery numbers.
Well, do you know, this is so weird. Oh, this is way, way, way weird. And I'll tell you why this is weird. Stay on the line just a moment. And I know the radio audience,
Sure.
The radio audience will just have to take our word for this here. But I've got my story pulled up of the strange vanishing of Damien McKenzie. But another story that I had lined up today was the fact of this here. And let's see if it says Birmingham is the luckiest place in the UK to win the lottery. And I found out in this story that Glasgow, there's been 125 million lotteries here since, 125 millionaires created since the lottery began. And I was going to have a laugh and a joke about how it certainly isn't me that gets any of that luck. But how strange, Vincent, that I had that story pulled up and unbeknown to you, you mentioned the lottery. So I might not have been able to answer your question, but that definitely confirms to me you're in the right place, my good friend, and I'm so glad you watched the show.
Once again, thanks for everything. I enjoy the woo, and hope you have a good day.
You too, sir. You too. Now then, moving on to our next caller, and this is a blocked number. I always worry when we bring a blocked number on. I never know what I'm getting. So blocked number.
It's Lothar 900.
Lothar, how you doing, my friend?
Not too bad. I was going to tell you, you always talk about the spiritual world and everything else. And,
yeah.
I live in a haunted building, and I caught a lot of things on my cell phone, like, you know, spirits walking around at night, shadows, and we have like really garbage LED lighting in our building, and the building is severely haunted. It was built in the early 60s, but a lot of bad going on happened in our building where I work at, and so I tried to study the building and find out its more research thing about this building, because you guys always talk about the spiritual world on your show and so on, and I want to know. I've been doing this for quite a while. There's been probably 3 murders, 15 suicides in my building. So then you wonder why there's so much bad, weird stuff going around. If I wanted someone to come down and maybe do a ghost night in my building in the hallways, I wonder if anyone would help me join to do this for maybe an hour or 2.
You know, Lothar, that's a lot of bad stuff. 15 people taking their lives. That does seem a high kind of spike
you
right
know
there.
The strange, yeah, we got one suite in here. It's apartment 310, okay, and in apartment 310, 3 people have committed suicide in that suite. All of them in the bathtub.
You see, that is pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
This reminds me
and
of...
I do a lot of the, you know, like...
Remember the story?
I do a lot of the ghost box things too, so...
Oh, tell us.
Go ahead.
Now, have you had any kind of success with the ghost box?
Okay, I actually had a friend of mine build me one, and it was really, really good. I accidentally dropped it because it scared the hell out of me. So he's repairing it as we speak, or when he ever has time to do it. It kept on mentioning Red Barn, and the demons are in the Red Barn. There's no Red Barn here or anything like that. But I spoke to a couple of people who are like in their 90s down the street from us, and it's all homes around us. And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, I remember when they started building that, they tore down the red barn."
Wow.
So yeah, I got something on that because I couldn't explain what they were talking about. Like there's things coming through.
Well, I was going over a story the other day,
actually,
and it was a family in Wales, Lothar, and they were talking about how they had a portal in and around their home, and they were reporting seeing soldiers from centuries ago. And I think this is one of these things where you have one of these portals. It's almost it's temporal as well. It doesn't just take you to other realms. It almost has an effect on the time space where you see past events. If that makes sense, yeah.
Well, the whole thing is I don't want spirits in my building, and I don't want the bad ones. So I actually, I do a blessing, and you know what I mean. Like I try to clean the building, and every suite I remodeled, I've cleansed it. But when we were doing this I was doing this with other people, is you know, why are they mentioning Red Barn and stuff like that? And there's nothing here where there's a red barn. Do you know what I mean? There's houses and apartments. So if you went back in the future, but here's the thing: when I looked up, there was a red barn here. It was one of the first red barns built in Manitoba, and it was used for some, I think, in the French Indian Wars. I thought the French Indian Wars were not even in this area. Supposedly, this was like a farm where people have rested, and I guess not surgeries, but I guess, you know, it was far enough from any battle around here. And I thought, you know, well, I found it really strange that if you call it, what is it? They're half French, half Native American. It's called a Métis. So they had a revolt here with the Métis a long time ago, and supposedly this was one of the British stations.
Wow, and
And
you know,
we always get people saying, "Oh,
yeah.
you know, we see old people, we see soldiers," you know.
And Lothar, even if there isn't any kind of recorded or documented kind of history of activity in and around that period, I mean, how much have we come to learn in recent times that history, it's changing before our eyes anyway, and history is story. So what we're really being told, I mean, is it fully the truth? So there could have been a lot more things going on in a lot more places. But I want to go back to your building because something about it rung a bell with me, about something I was reading recently. And I like kind of true crimes, mysterious kind of crimes, that kind of thing. And I want to take people back to the year 2013. Now, this was something that really had the internet. Everyone was talking about this at the time. And it was the unfortunate and mysterious death of Elisa Lam. Now, does that ring a bell with you at all, Lothar? She was the young lady who was videotaped, the CCTV in the elevator of a hotel. It was the Cecil Hotel caught her acting strangely, and then they found her a couple of weeks later in a water tank on the roof. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it's this hotel, the Cecil Hotel, and allegedly the staff in there say that in this 600-room complex, I believe it's a 600-room, for argument's sake, we'll say that, but there has been at least one death in every single room in the place. The amount of suicides that have happened there has been off the charts. And it just says to me, Lothar, that be it that hotel, be it your building, and be it any other of these buildings out there, sometimes these properties, for whatever reason, they do become hotspots for the weird and the woo.
And then if you look at it, that case alone actually happened with a woman in New York in the 70s, also happened in Toronto, Canada in 1987, where a woman got up onto the roof and hopped in one of those tanks to hide from somebody and died in them. So this is really strange, where I think people were hiding, but they also found that they were on a certain drug. So, you know, like that woman looked like she was on a drug or got poisoned with something, could have been, because she was acting really paranoid. So either she was like downstairs and someone poisoned her somehow. That's what I think would happen. And then usually if you're taking heavy narcotics like cocaine or anything like that, you get very paranoid.
No,
So I'm thinking
I
maybe
like this.
someone
I like how you're thinking about this, Lothar. And I hadn't really thought about that
Yeah.
angle to it. You know, there's been a lot of people try to come up with various explanations. And unfortunately, the lady herself, Elisa Lam, she was bipolar. And of course, people put a lot of it down
Yeah.
to that. But now that you're saying this isn't an isolated event, I mean, I'm even starting to wonder things like infrasound, where that can cause people to hallucinate. Maybe they think they're being chased by something.
Yeah, but it's like this too. I've kicked out so many people out of this building. I've been here for just about 3 years. When I first came here, I pretty much got rid of all the bad eggs in the building, all the people who sold drugs, partied, everything else. So I kicked all the devils out, if you look at it. Well, 2 weeks ago, or last, what was it? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, some guy comes down one of our streets and starts smashing 35 cars with a sledgehammer. Gets to our building, smashes a big window. I have video of it. I'll send it to you if you want. Gets into the building, goes up to apartment 312 and scares the people with the sledgehammer, starts screaming. I had the SWAT team here to get the guy out of the building. So, I mean, if we looked at it, and I said to the police officer, what do you think he's on? He goes, on meth, crystal meth. He goes, we'll get them every day. And drugs, if people don't know how to handle them, you'll get that. You know what I mean? And that's just part of the situation. I know it might sound harsh for you.
No. You're right, because I remember remember back at the time when it would have been when this happened, 2013 time, ballpark area, Lothar. Do you remember the videos of the people that were allegedly on the bath salts? And they were like, there was an attack on the guy was running around naked chasing somebody, and he was literally trying to eat the dude. So yeah, drugs can have
that was 2006.
Is that when that was?
Yeah, 2006. Yeah, 2006, 2007, and then what they did is they took the bath salts. What they took out of the bath salts, where they made them a certain. There was a certain chemical they added into the bath salts to keep them strong, so they wouldn't like flake apart. Now they're like dust. Like there's a whole bunch of places where it's just you can't get high from regular salt. What it is the chemical they add to the salt, the food colorings, and something else that makes them go crazy. It's okay if you smoke marijuana, you're taking the only way you're getting high is from the THC. Okay. Now to take the THC and make it different, so it's a different drug completely. If you take the THC powder, the crystals, and you take those crystals and you snort them, that's angel dust. It's declared as a total different drug. It's a total different high. If you eat marijuana, it's a total different high. It reacts different to your body. So everything on the planet that you eat or take does something as a different reaction, and it's a different psychoactive drug in your brain, which can make you think other things.
Yeah. So you put
even if you smoke it, go ahead.
No. On you go. You crack on.
Well, like I said, if you smoke, here we in Canada, everyone can smoke marijuana. Okay, so you can go to the vendors here and they'll sell you whatever you want. Okay, now it's not the greatest stuff. It is poor. It's not really good stuff. What it is, it's not high quality. It's actually people complain about it because it's not done properly. And people have to think no, they have to make it at the government level. And if a private person does it, he's going to make it for him. And this is even on the big drugs, like big serious drugs. We have an epidemic here in the Midwest of cocaine and the crack epidemic, and there's also meth epidemic.
That's the same as the UK.
Why do people take those drugs?
The same as the UK right now. In Scotland, we're actually going through a real problem. There's been a lot of deaths, drug-related deaths this year.
Yep.
There's been calls for even been calls for shooting galleries to be opened up in Glasgow. just to try and combat some of the stuff that's going on right now. But
It's not going to.
no, but in
not
the
gonna do a damn
UK,
thing. You know why?
in the UK, it used to be that heroin was the big problem, but now in recent times, and it used to be a very expensive drug, but now cocaine's the thing that's everywhere, Lothar.
Yeah. And here's the strange thing: they were swabbing places because cocaine leaves a residue, and they were swabbing. This is if you have kids. This is a strange thing, but daycare centers, schools, where the teachers and the parents are snorting cocaine, they can't wait to go home and do cocaine, so they'll do it at the daycare center, or they'll even do it at the schools. It could be the parents, the teachers, even some of the students who's taking this stuff, and it's rampant because people are getting it for free to get hooked up onto it. And we have to understand, as people always say to me, well, how do these drugs get in? They get in because they can't stop everything that's coming in, because they can't stop a flight from, I mean, how many flights come into England every day? Like even Canada.
And
I mean, we get cocaine up here and no one knows where it comes from.
But when it's at that industrial level of exporting and importing as well, let's not be naive, folks. Our governments that are out there making these harsh anti-drug laws, there's elements within them that are certainly manipulating this trade and making a backhander from it. We know that as well, Lothar. We laugh and we joke about the Masons and things like that, but it's those very types of networks that allow this thing to happen.
I actually knew a whistleblower here. She worked for a hydro company. I won't say which one, but she worked for a company with supplied power, and they used to get these generators from the States, and they would have a serial number on them, and then all of a sudden they would be returned because either they didn't work or something happened to them. And she had to investigate that, like, what's wrong with this transformer or something. What is it? And they found out some of them were used, but they still worked. So she investigated, went up there, and she saw the whole transformer apart. But she knew that some of these guys must have been on cocaine because one of the guys offered her cocaine. And she goes, no, I don't do any of that stuff. And just walked away. And this guy got furious because her theory is they were bringing up cocaine and transformers. And you can't really look into a transformer because it says, please don't open. It's considered hazardous waste. The oil can be toxic. And the only person who's going to open it is someone who knows how to open one of those. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it can come through however it wants to come through. I mean, last week, I think they found them in big in tractor tires.
Yeah, they always find a way. There's always innovative ways, and when they catch on to one technique, then the people exporting it and transferring it, they move to something else. But Lothar, thank you so much for calling in again, man.
No problem.
Dude, you're an absolute legend.
We'll talk to you again later.
Absolutely. And next time when we open up the phones, call in and we'll get into the Masons, right? You can tell me more about what your take on the Masons. How's that sound?
Oh, okay. Well, I already put a list together for that. What will shock you and probably shock the other people. What I don't want to go too into it right today. Freaky. Like I probably need 40 minutes, 20 minutes to do it or so.
Freaky Friday. The phones will be open, brother. Okay,
yeah.
Lothar, thank you so much for calling in again, sir. Now we've got another caller on the line over in the UK, but because we're about to go to the break, I'm going to ask kindly if you could just hold on the line until we come back on the other side, because I don't want to kick you off the call after only a minute. No, I want to hear what you've got to tell me. So we'll come back on the other side. And if you want to phone in, we've got more people calling. We have got the numbers here, 213-233-3998. That's if you are in the US. One more time, it's 212-233-3998. And if you're over here in the UK, it's 0044 203-393-2871. That's 0044 203-393-2871. You can speak to me. You can speak to Coney. and we can get into all of the good stuff. What's the good stuff? Anything you want to talk about. That's how I roll here. Doesn't bother me. Old Quick Draw McGraw here. You can shift topics on me and I'll be there. I'll be right with you. Unless you're asking me about Catholicism and politics, and dang, dude. Dang, I got caught out there, eh? Need to be swatting up on my history. You folks are on your toes. The questions, I tell you, I'm only as good as the questions I get, and I tell you, the questions are good. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. More from the callers on the Kev Baker Show right here on Your Protection from Deception. TFRlive.com. Don't go anywhere. There we go. We're still here. Yes, indeed. I'd love for us to listen to the tunes. I've got some of the best intro and outro music in the business. Yes, I don't say that lightly, but we can't listen to it because there's a good chance it's copyrighted. We don't want to fall foul of the copyright police, right? No, we don't. So who's out there in the chat room? I see Dead GPK. Good to see you. And check out his channel as well. We've got Polar Bear Stare, ZX81 version 2. Neil Bowie, good to see you, man. The Dude, JoJo's, CB. Who else? Just a guy I see you kicking about. Jimmy Jeans is in there as well, kicking back. We've got Valley Parks. Yes, a very interesting group here indeed, Valley. Very interesting. Get me? I'm in a fun mood today, folks. I truly am. It's been a good day. You had a good day? Been a lot of streaming again. This content, it just keeps on coming. I'm telling you, just keeps on coming. So when we go back after the break, we'll be going to a caller in the UK. We'll see what they've got to say for themselves. This fine Kev Baker Show. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow, we'll have the safe space during the day, as always. And then we'll have Bill Bean and one of our very own listeners in hour number 2, simulcasting right here on TFR Live. Well, here on YouTube. I'm not on TFR Live at the minute. We'll be back there. You see, I almost forgot. You were almost going to laugh at me. I'm telling you. There's me thinking you had my back. I don't know. You're all sitting there waiting for me to slip up, aren't you? That's what most of the people come back for, I'm sure of it. First world problems is lurking. Jules Gilchrist, how you doing? Lurking and cooking. Yes, indeed. Where else are we there? Queen Goddess. Oh, we've got 2 callers. Tell you what, 2 callers from the UK on the line. I liked it when we were kind of unknown in the UK. I want to be anonymous. I like being kind of listened to in Australia and Norway and anywhere outside of the UK, because that way then nobody knows me. Great call, Lothar. Yes, indeed. And yeah, you should move. I should have said that to you when we were on the kind of call. It's a weird place, eh? Dude, my story wasn't second-hand and it was good. Oh, look at Kristen getting all defensive over her story now. Russell Johnson in there. Good day, Russell. I don't know why I put on an Australian accent. I've no idea where you come from on the planet. Anne's laughing, no wonder. You see how I always announce when Anne laughs? That's because it's a very rare thing. It's like a momentous moment in the day. No, I don't want should. Did you hear that verbal volley I just took there, folks? The toxic male that is emotionally abused. Don't try and all suki now, Anne. Everyone heard it. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I think everyone was very impressed with Lothar's call. Edward asks if I'm wearing a kilt. One day I might wear a kilt, and I'll do it the true Scotsman fashion. There'll be absolutely hee-haw underneath. I will be as naked underneath as the day I was born, because it's the only way a Scotsman knows how to roll. Right, getting ready to go back to the mothership. Indeed. And if you want me to wear a kilt, I'll wear a kilt. Here we go, folks. We're going back. 3, 2. Uh-oh. Yeah, there it is. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Kev Baker, and we're moving into the final part of today's Kev Baker Show, coming to you from a very smart, not so intelligent Glasgow, Scotland, via the Truth Frequency Radio Network, www.tfrlive.com. TalkStreamLive.com. And if you're out there on iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, TuneIn radio apps, a big shout out to all of you for taking the time out to tune in today. And don't go anywhere after this show finishes. No, no, no. Because TFR, we don't roll like that. It doesn't stop here. I'm one of many great hosts on the network. Joe Joseph takes over the baton from me after this show with the Freedom Link. So please stay tuned for all of that. We've got one segment to go right here. And I have got callers, yes, plural, callers on the line. Oh, I'm liking this. It's almost if I close my eyes and really imagineer very hard. It's like I'm hosting Coast to Coast already. Nori, watch yourself. We're coming for you, ain't we, folks? Ain't we coming for George? No, we're not coming for George Nori. George Nori's everyone's favourite uncle, isn't he? He looks like the guy you'd see at the wedding. You just want to have a pint with old George and hear his stories. And yep, no, Anne, you don't want to hit George with a shoe. Come on. So we're going all the way to the UK. Need to stop this rhyming thing, don't I? Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. And what is your name?
Hello, Kev. It's James Half from the UK.
Hey, James. How you doing, man?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah, half Q, yeah?
Yeah, half Q. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, and you, man. And you.
What happened? Hang on a minute now. Hang on now. What happened to your rugby team, dude? I thought they were going to win the World Cup. What happened, man?
No, they don't make it out of pigskin no more. It was an accident.
So what's happening, half Q? What do you want to get into tonight, brother?
Well, I had this weird experience. I live in rural West Wales, yeah?
Yep.
You know, in the hills. A lot of trees, a lot of hills. And it's not that different from Scotland, really, but you've got the hills, haven't you, the mountains. And I was coming home with the missus through the valley, and she lost her temper. We were arguing. So she kicks me out the car. I'll get out, I say. She's like, yeah, get out then. So I get out, yeah? Well, I get out. She drives off. I'm in this little valley, which is overhung. One side's full of oak trees. The other side's like bog, you know, with willows. Completely overcovered, you know, like a tunnel.
So wait a minute, James, wait a minute. Your girlfriend drove off and left you there. Is she did she go to the same school as Anne?
Yeah, she's got red hair.
Well, there's a Celtic connection then. Dang, dude.
Yeah, and she's vicious. She's not kind.
I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling. But we don't want this to turn into a helpline. Yeah. Tell us what happened after that.
So I stood around for a bit, but she didn't come back. So I was like, oh, no, this is dark. This is middle of the night, 12 o'clock. So I started walking up through the lane. It's overcovered, yeah? The trees, it's dark, you know. It's like going through a tunnel. And I'm walking towards, because it's about 4 miles away, there's a pub. So I thought, oh, best bet, head to the pub, right? So I'm walking through, and it's completely silent. You know, this is in the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, I heard, you know, the crunching in Blair Witch Project, when that's the only thing I can compare it to, with the crunching of branches.
Yep.
Crunch. I'm walking up, and on the left-hand side, in the bog with the willows, and this is black of night, there was the crunching. And I had that sensation. I'm a hunter, you know. I'm not scared of the nighttime. I go out at night. I hunt. I can take deer, rabbit, things like that. You know, so I'm no fool when it comes to that. And I'm walking up, and I'm hearing this crunching, but I get the feeling that came over me that I felt like I was being hunted, and that's the first time in my life I've ever felt that. And to get out, there was about half a mile or so, and I'm walking, and I pick up my pace a bit, and it was following me, and I'd slow down, and it would stop. The crunching and breaking of branches would stop. Then I'd start walking, it would continue, and the faster I go, it would. So I started to jog, heading to the end of this sort of like overhang of trees, which is like the end of the tunnel in a sense. And I'm getting towards the end, and I'm going faster, and it's coming, and I stopped, and I backstepped in my footprints, you know, and I ducked down in a hedge, try to trick it, 'cause I knew I was being hunted. I felt very vulnerable, to be honest. And it stopped. And I knew I kind of tricked it in a sense, but it was it going to come through the hedge or something? It was that creepy feeling, that moment of, did I get away with it? And then I legged it, and I got out through the opening, up the road, up out of the opening, out of the trees. And I turned around and looked back at the trees. And there was just this moment of silence. I stared in, and it stared out. Didn't get my eyes on it, but I was hunted, and it wasn't. It was definitely supernatural. It was something.
James, absolutely. Your instincts kicked in there, and I mean, you're like you say, the fact you've got experience of the forest, of the outdoors with wildlife, the fact that you were picking up on something that was a little bit different, that tells me everything I need to know, because as an ex-soldier, and I spent too many nights out in the open down in Wales, as you can imagine, but you get used to being outside.
Yeah.
You get used to being in the outdoors. And I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, and if you're telling me that you were on edge...
Brecken, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're telling me an experienced outdoors person had that feeling, that like you were the prey for once, then that speaks volumes to me. And I have to ask you, I mean, is there any local lore or anything for anything like supernatural in the area? Anything like that?
Not really, no. No, not really. There is some like Welsh myths and things about, but if you imagine something, if you sort of close your eyes and imagine something crunching through the trees, the noise in the Blair Witch Project, it was that type of noise, the breaking of branches.
Yep.
But moving through, and it was in bog, right? Because I know the countryside, so it's water, and they got the willows growing up. So you had to like step over the branches, otherwise you'd be splashing in the water. And so it had to go over and reaching to break things, wouldn't it?
Big time.
There's no other way it could do it.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, if this was some kind of animal, you'd have been used to the noise for one. I don't know, that's pretty strange, dude. It is, and I don't know, Wales, Scotland.
Yeah,
what's some of these myths? I mean, you know me when it comes to myths. I think myths are as relevant as anything that anybody sees or says today. So what are the kind of Welsh myths that are kicking around then?
Oh, I'd have to pull them up. There's a few, but to be honest, a lot of them do lead to the bogs, But I'd have to pull them up, I don't have them.
No,
to hand.
and I apologise for putting you on the spot. But I tell you one thing with Wales as well. I mean, you have a thing with dragons, right? The Welsh dragon.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody that believes that dragons.
That's only been on the.
On you go.
Oh no, but the dragon that's only been on the flag for about, I don't know, I think it's 60, 70 years.
There are more things in heaven and earth.
That was on there.
That was a super chat coming. That was a super chat coming through there. So it was. Sorry, James, but it was from Lance. Thank you, Lance. And Lance says there are more things in heaven and earth. Absolutely, and I must. So you think it was something supernatural you experienced that night, then, James?
Yeah, definitely. There was nothing else it could be. Absolutely nothing else it could be, because I know nothing could move through that area like that. It'd have to be on two legs, and it'd have to have arms, because it'd have to go over the branches to move through. To top it off, I eventually got to the pub, and I had a bunch of pints, and then it was time to go. It was like probably 4 o'clock in the morning, and unsympathetic ham bones down here, they're like, off you go then. That's a long walk home. So I had to go back through it.
Oh no!
I was like, oh no. Yeah, I was like, no way. And I walked about 2-3 miles, got to the T-junction where the crossroads where I'd have to like head that way. I was like, oh, I do not want to do. No, I don't want to do this. No way, because I felt like it's gonna have me, you know. So I just stopped and I prayed. I had a word with God, prayed, and had just a quiet moment, and asked for like a little bit of help here, you know, because I do not fancy going down there. And I promise you, Kev, this is ridiculous, but it's truth. A really old-fashioned car pulled up with an old man driving. He pulled up next to me. I'm sitting on the road on my knees, yeah? It must have been 4 in the morning. It pulled up next to me, and I said, oh, he said, didn't you get then? And he dropped me off at my door, 7 miles away.
Wow.
Straight through all of it. I gave him a peek. I said, oh, God bless you, and I've never seen him since. And that's the God's honest truth. Strike me down.
Wow. Now, I tell you what, talk about a story, man. And I've got Bill Bean coming on tomorrow night, and all the other stories I've heard with this similar kind of theme, you know, but never have I heard one before. Just so brilliant. You know, I was always told to look out for little signs, little kind of messages here and there that they're kind of discreet, but they're like road markers, Joe Joseph used to say to me. And he says, Kev, once you start to notice them, you'll see that they say the universe works in mysterious ways, or the hand of God does too. And I tell you what, you know, when you're asking, when you're asking for help, you know, just a little bit of assistance to get you through somewhere, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, in the middle of nowhere, middle of the night, a complete stranger with a random act of kindness like that. Come on, dude. I mean, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, and I'm in the wilds, you know.
Yep.
And you know the wilds, Kev. You know where you come from.
Yep.
You know, like an old-fashioned car pulls up with an old man in it and just opens the door. You've had about 50 pints because you don't want to go back that way. And he's like, get in, and drops you up to the door, takes you through that. It's very odd.
Oh, but it gives you a nice warm feeling. It really does, James. James, thank you so much for calling in. I would love to talk to you for the remainder of the show, but it wouldn't be fair on all the other people that we have queuing up on the phones here. And Anthony in the chat room says that you met the big man, and that's exactly what I call the divine one as well, the big man. So, James, thank you, and thanks for everything, dude. It's been great. You know, we have a back and forth on Twitter now and again, and it's good to see you in the chat room. So thank you for continuing to come along. It means the world, man.
No, much love. Much love.
Same to you, brother, and go and have yourself a nice fatty. Enjoy one, okay? See you later, Half Q.
All of you too. Love you.
Love you, brother.
Bye-bye.
Right then, let's go to area code. This is brilliant. I've got the best job in the world, right? Anne says it's not a job, but I do. But we're going to area code 620. And that's McPherson. Yes, you are on the Kev Baker Show. Very, very Scottish sounding location. What's your name and what do you want to get into today?
Namaste.
Hello? Is there anybody there? This is where I get to conduct my on-air seance. Is there anybody there? And stop putting on creepy voices. One last chance. Area code 620. No, let's go to, and I like the name of this place. Oh, yes. Let's go live to Sugar Grove, Illinois. Area code 630. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. How are you doing? What's your name?
Hey, what's going on? My name's Mike.
Mike, how's it going, man? How you doing?
Can you hear me? Oh, I'm doing great. I'm calling about the inverse square law.
Whoa, hang on now. Dang, dude. I'm going to have to get my calculator and stuff out. Talk to me. The inverse square law? What's going on?
So, when you look at the moon, how many miles away is it? 200,000?
300,000, I think. Roughly. I don't know. Something like that. A couple 100,000. Let's not argue.
All right. How bright would the surface of the moon have to be for you to see what we see on Earth?
How bright?
It has to be trillions of times brighter on the surface, according to the inverse square law.
Okay.
So it totally debunks everything. This is the nail in the coffin. This is the smoking gun. This is everything. All your space is fake. All your NASA's fake. Everything to do with NASA's a lie. The inverse square law tells you that the moon, on the surface of the moon, it would have to be 1 trillion times brighter than what we see on Earth.
What? Why? What are you talking about? It would need to be 1,000,000 times brighter than what we see on Earth.
Here's a simple analogy. You got a light bulb in your room that's 10 feet away. Okay? You got a light in your room at all 10 feet away?
Right, but you're comparing a light bulb to the moon. I don't think you can compare oranges and apples in this way.
Yes,
listen. I get it. You don't believe in space. You don't believe in the moon. That's cool.
No, this is mathematics.
Well, okay. You'll find usually space deals with astronomy and things, but maths is in there. But I don't think. Listen, you have your opinion.
I'm a lighting.
Okay, dude. You're a lighting guy. I get that. Okay, but listen. You've got your opinion, and by the sounds of it, you don't think space is real. You don't think the moon's real. And listen. You can't tell me. You can't tell me it's a fact. Okay, you can't tell me it's a fact because the same way that I can't prove factually to you that these things do exist. You've got your opinion. You've got your hypothesis.
My example.
No. Listen, dude. Listen. There's shows on the network that deal with flat Earth. To be honest with you, I don't feel the need to go around telling people.
No, I know it's not flat.
Okay.
I know it's not
but
flat.
listen. I deal with. I'm not really. You believe the moon isn't there. You believe space isn't there, and you know fine well I do believe in the moon and space.
I'm looking at the moon right now.
Right. So
I'm looking at the moon right now.
So where are we going with this?
My point is that let's say you have a light bulb in any light at all. Okay? When you get closer to, there's a thing called the inverse square law. When you get closer to the light, let's say if you put your head an inch away from the light bulb, it's going to be so bright that it's going to burn your eyes out pretty much. You can't put your eyes up against the light bulb. How far, let's say you have a light that's a mile away. You can see a light out in the distance a mile away. When you get up close to that light, when you're 1 foot away from that light, it's going to look way, way brighter to you. Okay? You see a light a mile in the distance. When you get up to 1 foot away from that light, it's going to be so bright it'll burn you. It's a light that you can see a mile away. Now let's say there's a light 10 miles away. Somehow you're able to see a light 10 miles in the distance. When you get up close to that light, when you're 1 foot away from that light, that thing is going to be so bright that you'll go blind if you try to look at that from a foot away. Now what if I told you I have a light that's 200,000 miles away? And you can see it from here. It's 200,000 miles away. When you get up close to that, when you're on the surface of that, it's going to be so unbelievably bright that it's so many lumens. This is what we're talking about, is the lumens of the light. It's going to be so bright. It's a trillion times, it's almost a quadrillion times brighter than what we see. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding anyone. You're the one that's laying out your theory here. I'm listening to you. I've got
it's
honestly,
not a theory, buddy. This is. You've never heard of the inverse square law.
No, I can't say not in relation to somebody holding a light and burning my eyes out and taking it out to the moon and saying the moon isn't real because of it.
Well,
because you see, dude, you see, I don't really research this kind of thing, and the reason I don't research this kind of thing is because it ends up exactly the way this phone call ended up. At what point do I push on anybody my idea and my opinion that the moon is real? And at what time do I go trying to convince anybody that the Earth is any shape at all? Because here's the long and the short of it, folks. And I don't care what shape you may think the Earth is or isn't. Because tell me, for one, why? Why would anyone need to hide the shape of the Earth in the first place? That is point one. Point two, give me a working model of the flat theory and I'll look at it. Point three, if we did find out tomorrow that we live in a snow globe, then can you tell me what changes? Because I would still get out of bed the same side. I'd still put on the same smelly socks. I'd still get triggered by the same bullcrap that goes on in the world. And you know what? Nothing would have changed. And I still wouldn't feel the need to act like the new version of the Internet Jehovah. Those that feel the need to go and tell everyone at every corner that things ain't real, space ain't real, the moon isn't real, NASA lies all the time. And yes, the Earth is flat. So yes, did I get triggered? Probably just a little bit. Probably just a little bit. But we'll go to one of our other callers on the line now, because I didn't burn my eyes out on the moon. I have no idea. We're going to area code 509, folks, and please don't hit me with Einstein's inverse law of woo or something like that. Please, 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 rescue me. Welcome to the Kev Baker Show. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm all the better for speaking to you. What was your name? And thank you for rescuing me.
You could call me Cricket now.
Cricket.
Or you could call me Kristen.
Cricket or Kristen. Yes, Kristen. How you doing, sister? What? Oh, thank you for calling. And I almost got triggered there. Did you notice?
Yeah, I noticed.
I hide it well, right? I hide it well. But Kristen, what would you like to get into? We've got about 5 minutes left. So what would you like to get into?
I'm just gonna say this one little thing. Do you remember when Joe was telling about that deal with Ange had with like her time slip thing?
Oh, yeah. Do I ever, Kristen? Yeah.
Okay. It's not as bad as that, or not bad. It's not as big of a deal, I don't think, as that. But there was a time I had just gotten into the Mandela effect, literally just into it, and everything was topsy-turvy in my world. And I remember I was going up the stairs to my apartment, and my neighbor downstairs had a cat, and this cat's name was Alfred. And I'm getting ready to go up the stairs, and I see Alfred like behind the stairs coming towards me. I take a few steps, and literally, I'm talking maybe 2 seconds. There is another Alfred doing the exact same thing, like right where it was. And I remember even saying, "Are there two of you, Alfred?" And just kind of just being a little thrown off and going about my day, the rest of it. And it just popped into my head just the other day when Joe was talking about Ange again, that I kind of had a little thing like that happened with this damn cat. I don't even like cats. But why did that happen? Why did I see two of the exact same cats? They did the exact same thing. They walked in the exact same spot. It looked at me in the exact same way. It tilted its head, and then the next one right behind it tilted its head. It was almost like it was meshing. I don't know how to describe it. Like the timelines were meshing or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how you describe it because I don't, But anyway, that's my little rescue.
That is weird. That's very strange indeed. And that thing that Ange had with the time slip, what you're talking about here, it's not even just an isolated thing. More and more people are experiencing this. And we don't even know what time is at the best of times, Kristen. So now that time's acting a bit weird, how on earth are we meant to work out what's going on?
Exactly. And I lose time. I lose, all the time. It sounds funny to say I lose time all the time, but I'm always thinking it's Wednesday and say it's really Friday, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I thought today was Wednesday. Or I'll go to write the date, and I'll be like, oh, well, I thought it was, I'll write the 8th, but it'll actually be like the 11th or something. And so for the longest time, I just say, oh, well, it's because I'm not paying attention to the time, or the day, because I mean, I'm not writing the date or anything. Like people say, like in your job or whatever, if you have to write the date a lot. I don't do that on a daily basis. But when you say it's Wednesday, but it feels like Monday, that's not because you have to write, it's not because you're like calculating the calendar. Like, oh, it's Monday the 4th, and then it's Tuesday the 5th, and Wednesday the 6th. I'm talking about, man, golly, today's Wednesday, and I thought it was Monday. Where do those days go? Where does that time go?
Where did the time go? And we are out of time, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back tomorrow with Bill Bean. Don't go anywhere, folks. Joe Joseph coming right up after the break. Stay tuned wherever you are. Make it TFR. There we go. We're clear of there. And listen. To the caller, if you're still listening, look. Here's the deal, right? I don't know about the inverse law of light or anything, and I really did think you were going to try and go into this whole the moon's not real, space isn't real, Earth isn't real, we're all in the snow globe. And yes, I possibly got triggered to the point of being too triggered. But I see, this is the thing. I don't see, and I get it, maybe your question wasn't related to flat Earth. Perhaps I pulled the trigger early on myself, right? And I apologize if I did. But here's where I kind of lie with that one. TFR, I'm proud to say, it's not my thing, but I know there are people out there who are really into flat Earth, and that's cool. If that's their thing, I'm proud of the fact that TFR can boast not one, not two, but three of what you would call the experts in that arena. And I just don't get why maybe people would phone up this show to ask about something related to that when you've literally got the best cats in the business that can answer all of these questions, absolutely, perfectly explain to you in their way what it is you're looking at, why you're looking at it, etc., etc. So again, from me to the caller, I do apologise. I think it was Mike, was the name. I apologise, brother, but I did think you were going down the road of flat Earth in me. I got flat Earth triggered. Yes, indeed. It does that to me. And we had a new member while all that was going on as well. We've got the T-Man. Thank you very much, T-Man. Absolutely. So now we're up to 100 and, let's blow it up, 108. I like that. I should put that over there. Since I got triggered by mistake, I should just blank myself out for a show, maybe. But I don't know. I still think I was getting set up to be flat earthed. I don't know. Anne thinks I was as well. Was I quite reserved, Anne? Anne says I was actually quite calm, actually, if you knew the real Kev. I sometimes get even more triggered than that when it comes to that. But hey, let's go into the chat room. I'll hang about for another 10, 15 minutes. How does that sound? Scots have too many hills to believe in flat Earth. Honey Monster. Do you know what? It's kind of mad. See up Inverness way, the further north you go, it seems to be the more flat Earth is popular. And you drive up the A9, and in fact, I might be able to bring this up here. Hang on, check this out. Yeah, the sign. No, not only that, but the cafe.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, here we go. This is Inverness, folks. This is where I'm from. Flat Earth Cafe. And when you drive up to Inverness as well, see if we can find it here. A9 Flat Earth signs. Images. Yeah, this is when you're driving up the road to Inverness. You've got people of like everywhere. There's the cafe again, but flat Earth. And my mum, she was showing me a pamphlet that was sent out to everyone. Like this must have cost hundreds of pounds. It was a glossy kind of pamphlet. Royal Mail delivered them. There's a big flat Earth movement in the north of Scotland, to the point where you can justifiably open a cafe. And I think it was Kenny, my brother, one night. He loves getting drunk, does the wee man. And I think him and his girlfriend, they ended up in the Flat Earth Cafe until he realised where he was. And I think it was him. Maybe it was just his girlfriend. But yeah, I tell you, it's big up that way. So I don't know. Again, it's not particularly my thing, but hey. And that's why I say, each to their own. Each to their own, I say. Kev, it's a little too sexy to hear you get your gander up. Disco, I would rather not get my gander up. Just riled up, man. Just riled up. I'll have to decode for Anne. Flat Earth ain't popular on the equator. I lose hours every day, hours a day. It's nothing unusual. It happens all the time. Jojo says that. Big time, Jojo. Big time. The DBS show. Not sure what that is. So, Honey Monster, are you Mike that called into the show? I think it is. I think. Marty, no, listen, from me, Anne, and Kevin, all you do for us, bless you, honestly. Edward has a flat butt. You thought you had a fat butt like Anne. I'm like you, okay, with being getting slapped now, folks. Yeah, Valley Parks. NASA does lie, but I don't think NASA lies about everything. That's the thing. I think because they have blatantly lied in the past and they've been caught out and they've knowingly lied. But I don't think everything they tell us is lies, if that makes sense. I think a lot of the money that goes to NASA goes somewhere else. It falls down the back of the sofa and goes to black projects, things like that. The Dave Baker Show. Yes. Were you right, Anne? Yes. I haven't called myself Dave for a while. Can't believe you just reminded me. My hero. My hero in the radio business called me Dave Baker, not once but twice. But at least he corrected himself, right? Mr. Stoneley, the Flathead Movement. But I kind of get his point. He didn't put it across well. Honey Monster, okay. And again, I'll probably get complaints to the network. I may get booted off. Who knows? I don't think so. I'm only joking. Not everyone in NASA is in on it. Exactly. The same as everywhere. Same as everywhere. It only takes a few bad people, but just in the right positions of power to make things happen, if that makes sense. And the more people that know stuff, the more chance there are of people like me and you finding out about it. Because loose tongues sink ships. And that's like a kind of naval cliche because it's true. More people that know something, the more chance there is of it getting out. Compartmentalization. We've heard that word all the time, but it's how it works because that's how it works. It's the most effective way. Left hand has no idea what the right hand is doing. Exactly. In many cases, the left hand's got no idea there is a right hand. That's how compartmentalized it is. Could be just so much as opening one door one day. That's all you have to do. That's it. Nothing else. You know, nothing else. That's all you have to do. And then somebody else has to do something else, and you never know anyone that's involved, and that's how they keep it all hidden. Half Q, great show. Thank you. You phoned up. You helped make it a great show. Flat Earth is an awakening, and that's why it's so popular. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But still an awakening. I look at it a different way. I think of it as a potential pitfall for people who are just awakening, when people are starting to realise that everything they've been told is a lie. Myself and Scott spoke about this the other night. When you first wake up, you start to believe everything. And when I first woke up, flat Earth wasn't a thing. It wasn't something that was spoken about. And I do wonder at times, would I have gone for it when I was in that initial waking up stage? And I think maybe that's the people who it does kind of appeal to. I don't know. And again, in the end of the day, I don't care what anybody... It's like belief systems. I don't care. Everyone can believe what they want. So long as you're not wanting to harm people, so long as you're not like being nasty, I think we can all agree to disagree and we can have a laugh and get along. And like I say, we can all wake up tomorrow, open the curtains and start again, no matter what the shape of the playing field is. Yeah, exactly, Cricket. Exactly. It's like asking me about neurosurgery. I've got no idea. I've never looked into it. It doesn't interest me. And again, I've been told by flat earthers it's because I was mind controlled in the army. And I admit, yep, there is mind control in the army. But I went into satellite communications. So it is a little bit harder for me to go along with the whole sometimes there's no space, there's no satellite, stuff like that. And the conversation, it goes nowhere. Because then flat earthers will just say that I'm believing the lie or I'm supporting it, and I'll shake my head, and it goes nowhere. And like I say, in the end of the day, we both stand up, leave our coffee, go out the door of the cafe or wherever we are, and oh, guess what? The world's exactly the same. So I treat it like religion. Everyone each to their own. And everyone's happy. And we can all smoke weed every day. I should have had my soundboard up there, shouldn't I? Damn. I can get it quickly, though, because I'm good like that. That's how we roll here.
Smoke weed every day.
See, there we go. So 5 more minutes and I'll be gone, right? And there is no revolution if the earth is really flat. The funniest meme ever is that there's flat earthers all around the globe. Come on, that's funny, even if you're a flat earther. Come on. Let's see. Jamie says a psyop like the mud flood, Tartaria. See, that's another one I've never really looked into, the Tartaria one, the mud floods. I heard Max Egan talking about it one time, but I've never looked into it. So I don't know. I prefer stuff that we really can't prove, like Sasquatch and stuff like that. The good stuff, the paranormal. I suppose a flat earth would be paranormal, right? It'd be supernatural. I don't know. I learned some interesting things again. Dang. Martin Lead of Flat Earth British is good. Check out his YouTube. And if you're into that, absolutely check the YouTube out. It's not my thing. I've barely got enough time to keep on top of the subjects we do cover on here. And we're one closer to getting a new emoji. One closer. Can you believe it? Is that the sound of coffee I hear in the background?
No.
It is, isn't it? I'm getting coffee made for me. I've been a good boy tonight. Coney says I might even... Is it? Oh. Coney was wrong then. Flat or not, doesn't matter to me. Life is life. Not going to change a thing. Exactly, dude. Exactly. I'll still be here tomorrow on the safe space, regardless. Even if it turns out my own personal favourite is that we're on a hemorrhoid-shaped Earth. Because, come on, it's a shit show, right? It's a shit show. It truly is. Woketopia is built upon the foundations of a hemorrhoid. It's just the way it rolls. The orphan train, what's that? Pollination, bringing back the dang. Yes, indeed. Kristen's having a cone and shoe party. She knows what's happening to me when I get off this call. Absolutely. Maybe one day, maybe one day we'll do that. Maybe one day we will open up the phones and let flat earthers call in. I don't know. I've never gotten there. I don't think I get a lot of flat earthers tuning into the show, to be honest with you. Let's see. Hod, good night, my good friend, and thank you so much for becoming one of the latest members of the channel, man. Top notch. Absolutely top notch. Yes, indeed. Jules Gilchrist, you can steal that all you want. Yes. I love Anne laughing in the background. Don't bloody encourage her, Kristen. Don't encourage her. She'll be wanting one of those wrenches next. You want a wrench?
No, I ain't going to.
Oh, she's still moaning because she hasn't had a Discord invite. Dang, dude. Can I call you, dude? No, do that.
Yeah.
Pile of hemorrhoids, yes, indeed. So I think, folks, that's about it. It's that time of day where I have to take my leave, going... It's not been out yet.
Oh, come on.
Queen Goddess, has Oak Island been on yet? You know how, like, you live only, 2 meters away? Free Spirit, Illuminati mind control is real and in advertising. Big time. If you want to call them the Illuminati, the Cabal, whatever you want, but you're right. Oh, big time. Subliminals. Hell. Most of our reality is constructed through media and the manipulation of our minds. Probably most of the things that we think are real also. Were they our ideas or were they programmed into us? And listen, flat, round, does it really matter when I honestly do believe we're living in a simulation where everything's code anyway? Not really. Not really. Yes, indeed. CIA input all those codes people see in movies. I love that KBS show. Edward, I'll need to be getting Jay Dyer back on. He talks a lot about the movies as well. Not a Jay on in years. Jay Dyer's a good guy. He does some good work here on YouTube. Oak Island is on my list this coming week if all goes well. Love spending time in this chat, and Polly, you know for a fact I love spending time with you. Anthony Dilbert says, have a good night. You too, brother. Thank you for being a member. The Honey Monster, night. All those sats circling the Earth. How do we get a rocket passed into space? If I told you that, though, Alan, if I told you that, I'd need to kill you. We're joking, what? I don't know, Anne, if they're going to Oak Island. Anne's asking if people are going to Oak Island. Now she's... See, you've got it all started about Oak Island. Flat, round butts are still butts. Yes, indeed. I'm hearing gunfire outside, but it's like fireworks. So, I am the moon, and this is me. And as I move their consciousness-assisted transdimensional technology as my oneness fullness. Damn, dude. Neo, can I have some of what you're on? Fallen Empire, got to count sheep. Do robots count electric sheep? Philip K. Dick book, I think. I think that was one of his books. Susie, you have a great time, and give that little youngest Wookiee of our clan here a big hug from me. And not too much whiskey tonight now. No whiskey. Don't want you getting a headache. We've got big stuff to get into in the safe space tomorrow. No idea what we've got to get into, but something to say, innit? I'm going to derail you in jest one day, Kev. Joe Joseph tries to do that all the time. I'll let you in a little secret. I actually pretend to be derailed by Joe now because I hate to see his face when he can't do it anymore. So I just pretend that he gets me just to make him feel good, right? But don't tell him the next time he's here. Shh, it's our secret. I live not too far from Oak Island. Oh, don't be telling her that. $5. I won't love you a long time, but you can take Anne off my hands if you want. If you're needing holes dug. Jamie, is Mark Devlin going that way? See? And that won't stop me from getting Mark on the show. See, if I think it's a simulation, does it really matter? Joe is my teacher, says Polly. Oh, you need somebody better than that. Popeye, he's about the one man that can derail me in a heartbeat. From Clan McInnes to you, have a great night. You did good dealing with the caller. No, I didn't. I didn't do good at all. Didn't do good at all. I need to watch that show I just hears about here on KBS. Oh, you need to watch Oak Island, Kristen. Dang. Was that season 7? You get 7 seasons of primetime woo. Can you take mine too? Half cute. It sounds like me and you were in the same boat. I can't believe she left you out in the middle of nowhere. Especially in the middle of like Creepville. What's going on there, man? Don't know if it's my typing or spell check, but I feel your pain. Well, I think, folks, that's 15 minutes. There you go. See, you can't say I don't... What?
You ever call me anything like that?
Half Q. I just got told if I ever call Anne anything like that, I'll be getting buried out in the forest. I'll be getting left there. Honestly. Yes, indeed. So if it's early in the morning where you are, think Australia. Hope you're having a nice wake and bake time. Should really, when I created the show, I should have really incorporated the wake and bake baker. I should really have thought about that, shouldn't I? Should have. Indeed. Indeed. Half Q. Yeah, we've got a big contingency from Wales. We've got a lot of listeners down in the valleys. Maybe we could have a Welsh get together. How's that sound? That'd be kind of cool. I love Welsh people, man. These are as mad as the Scottish people. Big time. Oh, Anne's been to Wales. So have I, Anne. There you go. I've slept outside in Wales. I've ate worms in Wales. There you go. No, I have, folks. And it wasn't to be part of AOC's Green New Deal or anything. I wasn't getting all woke and trying to have like a pizza salad. It was army time. Long story. Indeed. Right. I'll be back tomorrow. Oak Masonic Island. Indeed, Yolanda. Indeed. Isn't there a lot of that symbology right there? Oh, Reaper. Have a great day. Love to you from Australia. Oh, wake and bake it, Reaper. Wake and bake it. Absolutely. So then, folks, until tomorrow, you know what I like to say. Keep on looking for the woo, but not to the point where the brain turns to black goo. And I will be back. Safe space tomorrow. We've got Bill Bean tomorrow. We've got Frank, the caller that Bill's just been to visit on tomorrow. It's all happening. So we'll have about, I don't know, another 4 hours all in. Live streaming, simulcasting right here tomorrow on the Kev Baker Show channel. If you want to become a member, just go over to the channel page, which is right here, and you click on the join button, and that'll bring up all of the options. All the options get you exactly the same, depending on what you can afford. I've made it the cheapest I possibly can. Can't go any cheaper than £2 because Google like to take their cut as well, okay? If I could, I would. And you know what? Next time I do speak to the people at Google, which should be soon, I'm going to ask them, because I think a great idea would be if, not just me, but all the content creators out there, if we could maybe give away one or give away 2 memberships a month, maybe 2 or 3. I think that would be a good way to really thank you out there as well. Because I get it. I get it, folks. When it comes to finances, rock bottom. And I know so many people are. And if I could give them away for nothing, I really would. It's just not an option that they give to us. And it's not that Google have been bad. Maybe when I ask them, maybe if enough people ask them, who knows? I think it would be a nice gesture because, let's face it, the platform is nothing, absolutely nothing without all of you out there. And I get it. You need content. So the content creators are important, but you're the lifeblood. There's nobody to watch the stuff. Kind of falls down and doesn't really work, doesn't it? So then, for one last time today, keep it real. Keep the mind open. Don't let it turn to black goo when you're looking for woo. I'll be back tomorrow. See you then.